Hi folks, it's Moz here, and this is a video about 3 major changes that have enhanced Airfix, probably for the better. So this video is going to be in 3 parts because I think they've had 3 major decisions or changes that have been great for Airfix and also great for the scale modeler. Now I'm asking you to put any prejudice aside, any thoughts on Airfix already, and you may still have some at the end. There are things that still need to change, but I think that they should be given some praise where it's due, and so this video is about that. Right then, let's get to part 1 of this video, and I will see you in the next part. It's the mid-2000s and Airfix is wobbling like a gran walking down the stairs. The model kit market's deader than a chicken wing in a bargain bucket, and kids are now glued to PlayStations. Plastic prices are higher than the Hubble telescope, and Airfix is bouncing between owners like a kid in a custody battle. By 2006, their parent company Humbrol goes bang. Molds are stuck in a French factory, staff are sacked, and modelers are left crying into their enamel paint. But then enter Hornby Hobbies, the train geeks who swoop in like knights in a steam-powered Spitfire, buying Airfix for £2.6 million, a bargain, cheaper than a sandwich in Starbucks. Hornby's mission: bring Airfix back from the brink and fast. But how do you make a 70-year-old brand cool again? Easy, they thought. Let's re-release kits into fresh-looking boxes. And yes, it kind of worked for a while, but it wasn't long before they were found out.
You got me.
It was 2010, the year where people were left stranded at airports because a volcano in Iceland had dropped its guts and pumped its innards into the atmosphere. The England football team resumed normal service by being knocked out of the World Cup in South Africa by Germany in that second round, amid the noise of vuvuzelas. And when we found out that Ben Collins was the Stig after the BBC took HarperCollins, the book publishers, to court. But more importantly, 2010 was the year Scalemates was born, the website in which all the font of knowledge regarding scale model kits appeared on our Windows Vista machines. It included the dates of when a kit was tooled, who actually manufactured the tooling, and how many times it had been reboxed. And to a scale modeler, it became essential to the hobby as a condom is in a brothel. We now can know everything about a model kit with one search term. Airfix and other manufacturers were found out. You see, before then, modelers would visit their local model shop, see this nice shiny box with fresh box art, thinking it must be a new release, then get it home to find a kit that seen better days, and the decals were crap. And some of them were still hella kits. The problem was modelers didn't trust the box anymore, and they didn't trust Airfix. So what did Airfix decide to do? They decided to tell the truth. They started to put the date of the manufacture of that particular kit, but also the date of when it was first tooled. And you can see that quite clearly on the modern model kits. So from 2018, if you look at a kit now, it will tell you the model design and tooling year, and also the decal schemes and pack design year. So basically this box here is released 2019, but the model inside was tooled in 2015. Hornby got Airfix purring again from 26 to 2017. They had tooled over 90 brand new models, ranging from Aston Martins to the Western Lynx, an Avro Lancaster to a Mitsubishi Zero, a TSR2 and a Lifeboat. Models in their major scales, and I shit you not, 9 Spitfires. So how do they distinguish this new Airfix with CAD designs from the latest info and the odd scan or two to Airfix models of old? Do they bin the old models off and bury them like a government cover-up? Of course not, they're not daft. They know that the real magic that lies in these kits us old twats would build. Those kits from the 60s and 70s, but also reboxed in the 90s and the noughties. Back when life was simple, glue was a food group and decals curled up like a dog licking its own balls. So, in 2018, Airfix launched their vintage classic range. It's a love letter to every nerd who ever lost a tiny propeller to the carpet monster. The idea? Basically, dust off Airfix ancient modes, some older than the Ming dynasty, add top-notch decals from CARTOGRAF and re-release the classics with retro packaging of the original artwork that screams, "Buy me, you sentimental fool." You just look at the artwork, it's like a wartime poster had a baby with a comic book. That was Roy Cross's style. First up, they roll out legends like the 1/76 scale Churchill, Panther and Russian T-34 tanks. Ships like the Bismarck, Hood and Ark Royal in 600 scale. Kits so iconic they're practically national treasures. Plus they release 1/76 figures like the World War I British and German infantry. 18 releases that first year, and they released another 16 with the Scammell transporter alongside the Matilda Hedgehog tank, plus their very first plane, the Hawker Demon. These aren't newfangled laser scan CAD design models. Oh no, these are warty, wonderful kits from the golden age, complete with raised panel lines and instructions that read like a drunk carpenter's notebook. Hornby's genius was banking on nostalgia, targeting dads, granddads and whoever shouted, "Where's that filler?" at 2 a.m. in the morning. The vintage classic range took off like Verstappen in a Red Bull, and by 2023 Airfix is rummaging through their mode archives like a diecast collector at a car boot sale. They bring back with them the SRN-1 hovercraft and the bomb bug, once thought lost like the Ark of the Covenant. They even re-engineered the clear parts in a couple of their kits so far, like the bomb bug and the Oster Antarctic, as that part of the tooling was missing. I think Airfix missed a trick though by not retooling or re-engineering the glass of that Bristol 192 Belvedere, because that was just shite. It just never fitted anyway from the beginning. 2025 we got boats, 3 in fact, the Vosper, the RAF Rescue Launch and the German E-boat, and a few that flew like the Westland Puma and the Seppi Cat Jaguar. These kits are old school, fiddly, flawed but fantastic. None of your modern snap fit nonsense. These demand blood, sweat and a vocabulary of swear words your dad would approve of. And it doesn't stop there. With 2026, I'm hoping for an SRM4 hovercraft or maybe, just maybe, a Vigilante.
Twist it! Pop it! Ow! Nice going. You're out.
Oh, sorry there. Just asking a bit of a favour. If you are enjoying the content on this channel and you're not yet a subscriber, will you please consider becoming a subscriber? It's really simple to do and it's free. Just click subscribe, and if you ring that bell, click all, you'll be notified when I release a new video. Right then, let's move over to part 2 of this video. Picture this, a world of tiny plastic aeroplanes, tanks, cars and ships, where the humble starter kit has been the gateway drug for model making nerds since the dawn of time, or at least since your granddad was in short trousers. Airfix, Revell, Heller and just recently Atari have all created model sets which has almost everything in the box so you could build your first scale model kit. But in 2021, Airfix, the grand old dame of model kits, decided to shake things up. And in this video, we're going to find out how much of a shake-up it really was. So let's dive in. First, the old way. For decades, Airfix starter kits were like the most charmingly basic packed lunch. Inside you got a classic kit, say a Spitfire or a Sherman tank, or a Volkswagen Beetle that was tooled in the 1960s, or a kit that even an experienced modeler might struggle with, like let's say the 1/72 Sea King. You find a tube of glue, or to give its correct term, cement, that could double as an industrial sealant, a paintbrush that would spread the paint, and a handful of tiny paint pots. Plus, an instruction sheet telling you where to stick the parts and what colour paint to use. Nostalgia. But here's the thing. The idea of these starter kits were brilliant for beginners. They were cheap, cheerful, and just fiddly enough to make you think that you're a proper craftsman, even if your Spitfire ended up looking like it had crash landed in a hedge. It got kids, and let's be honest, plenty of grown men hooked. Now, let's fast forward to 2021, and Airfix had an epiphany. They looked at their starter kits and thought, hang on, we can do better than reboxing the same old modes, lovely Reeboks from the 1960s, complete with enough flash to make you think you're chiseling stone. If this is their first scale model kit, we want them to have the best experience. These old modes, or the more complex kits with lots of options and parts, are not going to give them that experience. So what did they change? Well, they kept the core idea, a kit, a brush, glue and paint. But in 2021, they announced the new starter set range with 4 models, a Spitfire, Red Arrow's Hawkjet, and 2 tanks, Sherman Firefly and a Tiger 1. They developed and tooled a brand new range of simplified model kits with less part count, so you get a sharper detail and much better fit, and no flash. They redesigned the instructions with a sprue map explaining where the parts are on the sprue, even telling you where to put the cement on the parts for a more accurate fit and less risk of you leaving a fingerprint on the plastic. Plus, a starter guide with tips on how to get the most out of your model, explaining what extra tools and accessories you might need to complete the model, like scissors, nail file, cocktail sticks, elastic bands, tweezers, you know, the kind of things you would find at the bottom of your grandma's handbag, normally next to that handkerchief she would lick to clean your face with. They also pushed the one finish option, meaning decals and paint schemes were streamlined for beginners. No faffing about choosing between RAF squadrons. You get one look and you're jolly well sticking to it. Did they reinvent the wheel? Hardly. It's still the same Airfix starter kit at heart. Glue, paint, brush and a kit. And a kit that's more about fun and having a displayed finish kit. But the shift to newer basic build model kits shows they want the modeler to have the best experience building their very first scale model. The paint, for one, did get a bit of flack at the time. Sometimes they dried out faster than a puddle in the Sahara. At the time, Airfix started offering free replacements for dodgy paint, which is less of a revolution and more of a polite apology. But they did look into the pots and had them redesigned so they were more airtight. This was to stop the paint being more like a brick at the bottom of the pot. The cement is still that same tube though. I just wish they would put in a precision cement pot with a needle. But obviously, if you're giving one away as a gift to someone, you can buy them that precision cement. The humble brushes are actually pretty good. I use them all the time, you know, hand painting and laying down decals. But it's the kits themselves. These new modes for the starter set are far superior than that tired Volkswagen Beetle from 1964. The starter set range now is very impressive. Prices vary from $12 for the small set to £20 for the bigger starter set. Airfix have invested heavily in that range, and it has 17 different model kits now in that starter set range. The planes all come with these shadow stands so you can have them in flight. The tanks have tracks that are molded in one part. No rubber band tracks in these boxes. There's a range of supercars plus some classics like the Aston Martin DB5 and an E-Type Jag, which I believe is aimed for the petrol heads of the world. Just an aside, These are my go-to presents for friends and the dreaded Secret Santa. Give them a supercar to build, as they probably never get a chance to own one, let alone drive one, and they can now build one. And just recently, Airfix added to the range the Shannon class lifeboat and a Land Rover for those who like the cows and cider. The result, a starter kit that's still dirt cheap, still smells like your childhood, but just might make your first model look less like a war crime. So there you have it. Airfix in 2021 didn't so much give it a quick polish. They changed the game for starter kits. And I haven't seen another model manufacturer put out model sets like this designed for the newbie yet. Now, what about the normal kits? Those kits with lots of parts, decals and options, they are now released as gift sets. So if you're an experienced modeler, they have released some of those kits with the cement, the paints and the glue. You may see them called dogfight doubles or like Best of British. These gift sets will have a picture of the paint, glue and brush on the front of the box, so you know you will be getting the extras. Like the new Space gift set ranges, these all come with paint, glue and a brush or two. It's still by far the best way to get into this hobby, and if you have built a few starter sets and want more of a challenge, check out the Airfix gift set range. And one last thought, if you are struggling to get yourself back on the workbench, you've just lost that mojo, grab yourself one of these starter sets. Just enjoy the simplicity of the build and get back to scale modelling. Right then, do you enjoy part 2? We're moving on now to part 3, which I really truly believe was the biggest change so far for Airfix in improving the experience of the scale modeler to their model kits. We're going to be talking about decals, and enjoy. Right, in this third part, we're going to be zooming in on a pivotal moment in Airfix and its history, the great decal switch of 2011. Or it could have been a little earlier in 2010, when they ditched the old supplier, which I believe was Model Alliance, for the silky smooth Italians at CARTOGRAF. Now, what is a decal or decal? It doesn't matter how you say it, by the way, but in scale model kits, a decal is a thin printed graphic that is transferred from a special backing paper to the model's surface to add detail and realism. The most common type, the water slide decal, some call them transfers, is activated by water and then slid into place, where it permanently adheres to the model. Decals are used to apply markings and numbers, insignias and other intricate details that would be difficult or impossible to paint. Now, this is a tale of frustration, redemption and tiny water transfers that work properly. Now let's set the scene. Airfix, for those who've been living under a rock, has been churning out model kits since the 1950s. Spitfires, Hurricanes, the occasional dodgy tank, all of them lovingly assembled by men in sheds or kids avoiding homework. But for years there was a dirty little secret lurking in those iconic boxes, the decals. Those flimsy, infuriating graphics that were supposed to transform your lump of plastic into a Battle of Britain masterpiece. Except they didn't. They were rubbish, thick as a brick, prone to tearing and out of register, meaning the colours didn't line up properly. So your RAF roundel looked like it had been painted by a toddler with a hangover. I mean, come on, it's a Spitfire, not a Picasso. But back in the day, let's say the 90s and the noughties, those decals, often printed by whoever was cheapest, were a lottery. Sometimes they'd stick, sometimes they'll curl up like a stale crisp, and sometimes they'll just disintegrate in the water like your dreams of a perfect Lancaster. Forums were ablaze with complaints. Modelers were getting pissed off, needing to buy aftermarket decals from the likes of Extra Decal or begging the gods of clear to save their shattered roundels. It was chaos. You'd spend 20 hours building a 1/72nd scale Mosquito, only for the decals to ruin it faster than you can say silvering Nightmare. But then, in 2010, something miraculous happened.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to fucking acknowledge it.
Airfix wasn't blind or deaf to the grumbling on the modelling forums. They knew their kits were getting better, more detail, better fit, proper engineering, but those utter shite decals was letting the side down. Airfix decided they had had enough of the decal disaster. They turned to CARTOGRAF, an Italian company that prints decals so good they could probably make a Fiat Panda look like a Ferrari. CARTOGRAF, known the world over as a guarantee of great decal experiences. Now, CARTOGRAF, spelt with an F by the way, their stuff is thin, tough, perfectly in register, sharp and great colour density. Combined with a thin satin carrier film cut close to the printed areas, these decals hug the contours of your model like a tailored suit. No warping, no curling up, no tearing, no nonsense, just pure unadulterated perfection. So once the call was made to partner with CARTOGRAF, new kits like the Vickers Valiant and the BAE Harrier were rolling out with decals so good you'd want to frame them. Honestly, you could apply these with a blindfold and a bottle of microset and they'd still look brilliant. No more white borders, no more thick carrier film, no more screaming into your hobby knife, and more importantly, no more logging into the forum or online to share your disgust.
You know something? You disgust me.
The impact was revolutionary. Modelers who'd sworn off Airfix scale models were suddenly singing their praises. The de Havilland Sea Vixen, for example, had decals so sharp they made Tamiya blush. Even older kits were revamped within the reissues as Airfix started slipping CARTOGRAF sheets into the boxes. It was like swapping a Nokia for an iPhone. Forums lit up with joy. Well, as much joy as a bunch of middle-aged men arguing about the correct shade of olive drab paint could muster. And the best part, Airfix didn't just rest on their laurels, they kept pushing, making sure every new kit came with decals that didn't make you want to hurl your airbrush out the window. Now, Airfix kits have the CARTOGRAF logo on their boxes, but to caveat this, when they have reboxed other manufacturers' kits like the Academy tanks in 2019 and 2020, and when Academy produced the Austin ambulance for them, those tooled by Academy have their own decals in them. They are not CARTOGRAF, so they're made in-house. So the rule of thumb is no logo, they're not CARTOGRAF decals. But to give Academy their credit, they are pretty good. Now, it wasn't all smooth flying. Some diehards grumbled about the cost. Better decals don't come cheap after all, and a few old kits still had the dodgy pre-2011 sheets in them. But overall, this was Airfix saying, right, we're back and we're not messing about. They've been through bankruptcy, buyouts and more drama than a soap opera, but this move in 2011 was the start of them being serious about giving the scale modeler the best experience. So there you are, those were my 3 top changes that Airfix have done that have improved the company. And to be honest with you, I do get that there are other things they can improve on, but you know, they are aiming to get as many people into scale modelling as they can. Well, they have to, because that's their business, is to see people enjoying their scale models. I know there's been issues in the past and they put their hands up, you know, and they do offer replacement services, etc. with customer support. But I really do believe that being truthful about what's in a box, when it was tooled, when that box was manufactured, is important. I think the starter sets, and I've not seen any other manufacturer of scale models bring out kits that are designed for beginners with the brushes, the cement and the paints, good instructions, easy to read instructions. I've not seen it. The closest we've got is Hobby Boss with their easy assembly kits, but they don't come with the paints or the glue or the brush. So, and finally the decals. You know, when you pick up an Airfix model kit, you know you've got the creme de la creme of transfers, graphics to go on your model kit. And Airfix don't scrimp on them either. You know, we've seen the sheets of stencils, haven't we? Incredible. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the changes I've mentioned here have improved Airfix in those areas? Please leave a comment below. I enjoy reading them. And that's it from me. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, click like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, ring that bell, click all to be notified when I release a new video. A huge shout out goes to my channel members who help me financially with this channel. If you'd like to become a channel member, click join below and select which membership tier you so wish. We have a Tuesday night live stream model club where we jump on our workbenches with cameras and we talk about scale modelling, we talk about technique, and we have a bit of banter with it as well. And that's from 8 till 10. And everyone is welcome who are channel members. If you don't want to come on the camera, you can just listen and add to the chat through words. In one of the four corners will be another video or a playlist from my channel, and I recommend you go watch them. But now I'll leave you be, and I wish you a very great rest of your week.